Greetings, Phenixx fans. I'm David Sanders, and welcome once again to the wondrous world of Warcraft, except not really. This one's going to be a special episode, folks, because I'm going to show you how to get, install, and use add-ons. So the website you're seeing here in my internet browser is CurseForge. This is the main repository for add-ons currently, as far as I'm aware, because the Twitch client apparently no longer supports them from my understanding, but I haven't used that in a while anyway, so I'm really out of the loop on that. But here you can see the most popular add-ons, like Deadly Boss Mods is a huge one. I use that myself. Details, I use that as well. Raider.io is pretty much required if you want to be in a high-end raiding guild, etc., etc. So there are add-ons to do pretty much anything you can think of, to an extent. You can see all the categories on the side here. So once I've walked you through a bit of this, I'll show you what I use to update my add-ons, and as well as what add-ons I actually use, because there was a portion in the first episode of this guide that I cut out because my add-ons were all over the place, and I know that would have probably confused some of you if you're new to the game or not aware of the existence of add-ons. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, let's say, professions. Let's just see what's in that general category. Trade Skill Master is a huge one. All the Things is also pretty big. Alcoholic, I use that one myself. Auctioneer is pretty big too. So you want to just browse this site, see if there are any add-ons you know of that you want to use, or just see if there are any that do what you want based on the features that you're looking for, and download them. I'm gonna go ahead and X that out. And I'm just gonna go ahead and download one that I don't already have, like plugins. I've already got Titan Panel. Let's see. What's in miscellaneous, I wonder? That's okay. Raider.io. Leatrix Plus, I use that one myself. I'm gonna just go ahead and get Handy Notes Oribos here. Oribos, for those of you who don't know, is basically the hub city in the Shadowlands expansion. We'll get to that in due time. I'm just gonna go ahead and download this. I am not sure about this CurseForge desktop app. I've never used it. I'll show you what I use in a minute. But for now, you can see that it's downloading, or maybe you can't because OBS's window capture isn't set up to see that. But, okay, I've gone and downloaded that, as you can see at the bottom of my screen here. So then, in order to install any add-ons that you download from this site, if you don't have an add-on manager, let me remember how to do that. Hang on. Okay, Wowhead has a guide, so I'll link that in the description because a lot of their guides, if not all of them, are very, very helpful. I use Wowhead myself all the time. It's a very good resource for new players and returning veterans alike. Okay, installing. Okay. So this is how you do it. You make sure that the add-on folder you downloaded from whatever add-on site you got it from is unzipped, which you can do with like WinRAR or 7-zip or WinZip or anything like that. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can go to... You can open your BattleNet launcher. Like, let me do that real quick. Okay, so you should be seeing my BattleNet launcher now. And what you do is you go to World of Warcraft, you click this cog here if you have this version of the Battle.net launcher, which is still in beta. What you're looking for is this button that says Show in Explorer, which will bring up, hang on, the directory of the drive upon which you have the game installed. You double click on World of Warcraft, you go to Retail, although this process also works for World of Warcraft Classic, just want to mention that briefly. You go to Interface, and then Add-ons, and then you'll see, well, I should bring up the folder, hang on. Let me walk you through that again. So there's my add-ons folder. So you can see the file path here. I have World of Warcraft installed on my H drive, World of Warcraft, Retail, Interface, Add-ons, and then that'll bring you to this folder where you can just basically paste all the files and folders in here, and that will install your add-on. Now, what if you want to use an add-on manager? Like the one that I use, which is called wowup.io. That'll be linked in the description, don't you worry. Let me go ahead and open that up so I can show it to you. There we go. You should be seeing that now. And as you can see, I've got a couple add-ons that need updating. So since none of them are deadly boss mods, I can just go ahead and click Update All over here. And that'll go through the process of downloading the newest version of the add-on, putting it where it needs to be, and making sure that the add-on is marked as updated. I specifically said since none of them are deadly boss mods because for some reason that particular add-on seems to cause issues with wowup.io unless you update it by specifically clicking its update button rather than using update all. So as you can see here, these are all the add-ons I've got installed. I've got the version of the program customized with the Alliance theme. You can do that in options. You can also change the location paths of where you have Retail and Classic World of Warcraft installed. And you can go to Application to change the color theme if you're so inclined. They've got a few that I like. I'm just going with the one that I like the most. You have the option to launch WowUp with your system if you're so inclined. I tend not to do that because I only update my add-ons right before I start playing. But anyway, if you click this button here that says Get Add-ons, you'll have access to a repository of however many add-ons are updated on WowUp Hub or Curse or, in my case, Tuck UI because I use ElvUI over here, which is a UI replacement mod, which is to say that it replaces various aspects of the World of Warcraft user interface. I'll show you what that's like in a future episode because I didn't feel right using my add-ons without having explained how to get them first. So this is the add-on manager that I use, and CurseForge is, at least for the time being, from my understanding, the best place to get add-ons. So I think I've walked you through most of what you'll need to know at the very least. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments. And again, everything you'll need should be linked in this video's description. But for now, I think we're good, unless I've forgotten anything, in which case I'll make an addendum to this episode added after this intro, or outro I should say. I'm tripping over my words on all fronts today, aren't I? Anyway, links in the description to pretty much everything you'll need if you want to get started with add-ons. Remember, the process to install add-ons manually is in the add-ons folder on whichever drive you have WoW installed on. I'll put that in the description too, if I haven't put it on screen already. And yeah, I think that'll do it for you, folks. So for now, you've been watching Phenixx Gaming. My name is once again David Sanders. Thank you immensely for your time and viewership. I'm sorry that this episode was a bit shorter than usual, but I didn't have as much to cover. Later episodes of this guide will be more normal, I guess, for lack of a better word. And well, I guess all there is to say is thank you once again for watching, and if not before, I'll see you next week.